There are three innovations that's about to drastically change the way we live. And surprisingly, this will happen in the very near future. It will be as impactful as the creation of the internet, maybe even electricity. The full impact of these key innovations is still somewhat difficult to imagine. That's why we will cover the fundamentals here to establish a platform for what lies ahead of us and what might be possible. We'll start with the most familiar and continue building on top of it, as actually all three are sequential. Number one comes Bitcoin. Here, the most important distinction is to understand Bitcoin as asset, BTC, versus Bitcoin monetary policy and versus Bitcoin network. All three are distinctly different and offer different ways to innovate at top of them. And let's just jump into Bitcoin as monetary policy. It is the greatest monetary system for the modern age. And on the top of that, it's the most secure network in the world. What makes it a great monetary system? Well, first of all, it's internet native, and it has a built-in scarcity, aka fixed supply, as well as fully decentralized and trustless protocol. Fixed supply makes the monetary system non-inflationary. Why is this important? Because it means millions of people, especially the poor, are not losing their wealth just because they hold it in fiat money. And the problem is, most people around the world are kind of poor. So here we have a chance to touch many lives in our lifetimes. We'll have to understand that fiat as we know it now is only 50 years old. Fiat prior to that age was actually gold-backed, and we always had an option to transact in gold. So here you can imagine that your fiat money could stay, but Bitcoin could actually become an alternative way to transact, just like gold used to be. And some of you might say, well, why don't we use gold? Because gold also limited supply and it's non-inflationary. Well, it is because Bitcoin is actually designed for the digital age, whereas gold is not. Imagine sending a little bit of Bitcoin to somebody across the world versus sending some gold across the world. Bitcoin has some properties that neither gold nor fiat has. For instance, Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. You can pay a fraction of a cent. Back to inflation. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many countries around the world printed a lot of fiat. As a result of this, we're going through a period of a high inflation. The problem with high inflation, even if it's temporary inflation results in a permanent loss. And we can all agree that assets that lose value over time are not good assets to hold. And that's normally and historically has been the fiat money. Fiat money is failing as a store of value. However, Bitcoin fixes it. Bitcoin is run on a decentralized, trustless protocol, where no single entity has authority over the system. No single point of failure. You can think of a protocol as a set of rules that nobody can change. And that set of rules provides economic incentives for honest behavior of all parties involved. Participants involved do not need to know or trust each other or employ some third party for the system to function. It's already built into the protocol. This will probably result in the greatest disintermediation. The invention of Bitcoin enables us to separate bank and state. Similar to the way how the invention of the mass print enabled separation of church and state, which led to a drastic improvement of many lives. But Bitcoin has its limits. Bitcoin provides a solid monetary system. However, for it to be fully usable, we need it to be faster and cheaper and more private than the existing financial system. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Lightning Network, the Layer 2 Bitcoin solution. It is the fastest and the cheapest and the most private way to transact. And it comes with the security of the base layer. And it will disrupt a number of institutions such as payments, exchange, and remittances industries. But is it really feasible for it to disrupt the current network? Let's take a look at this. There's a concept which states that in order for an existing network to be disrupted, a new competitor must be 10 times better. Speed, cost, and privacy. Bitcoin provides 7 transactions per second. That is absolutely not enough. Visa network capable of 65,000 transactions per second. Well, how about the Lightning network? Can you take a guess? It is 25 million transactions per second. Let's apply the 10x rule, 385 times faster than Visa network capacity. So the Lightning network here is definitely a winner. Fun fact, because the Lightning network is so fast, you can effectively stream your money. Imagine that you pay for some sort of service per minute or per second. Another use case, your employer pay you by minute and you'll be receiving money in real time.
Every 5-second payroll deployed. US dollars from the United States flying over the Lightning Network, converted and received as euros in Europe in real time, every 5 seconds. We are literally streaming money around the world.
So what's interesting, in the future it should actually almost eliminate accounts receivable and accounts payable. It will also disrupt the loan industry, the payday loan sharks industry, payment processors, gateway providers, and in fact just diminish friction due to exchanges and exchange rates. So the speed is a winner. Cost. Let's first look at what we have. Bitcoin and Visa. Bitcoin fee is fixed and it does not depend on the value of the transaction. For instance, you might be paying $10 for a transaction and it doesn't matter if its value is 1 cent or 1 million. Visa, on the other hand, charges both the fixed and variable cost. The variable cost is actually very high, up to 3.5% of the value. This is not really efficient and adds a lot of friction. Just imagine losing up to 3.5% of your business revenue. And as you know, that corresponds 1-to-1 to your profit. Well, how about the Lightning Network? It is actually either a fraction of a cent or free. That fraction of a cent charge might appear because of the liquidity or some rerouting, but for simplicity's sake, we can just assume the transaction is free. And if you compare free to 3.5%, then it is definitely more than 10 times better than the existing network. So once again, the Lightning Network passes this 10x test.
We are literally streaming money around the world instantly and at no cost.
Let's talk privacy. The traditional financial networks are not private. Cash could be, but you cannot really transact with cash over the internet. That's why Bitcoin was created. Now, Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network, you can remain anonymous. However, majority of people are not because they go from US dollar to Bitcoin purchases through regulated exchanges. The Lightning Network, on the other hand, once the Lightning channel is open, the transactions that happen on the Lightning Network are completely anonymous. And the most recent Bitcoin network update called Taproot makes it even more private, making the multi-signature addresses indistinguishable. So once again, the Lightning Network is infinitely more private. Currently, most organizations store all the transactional data and link it with individuals. Oftentimes, they resell that information to third parties. And sometimes they get hacked and expose your identity to theft and financial losses. Welcome the Layer 3 solution, decentralized applications on the top of the Bitcoin Lightning Network. The most private applications in the world, which allow you to freely exchange information and speak freely without censorship. What's really cool about the Layer 3 solutions, they inherit security and sound foundation of the base layer, the Bitcoin, speed and cost of the Layer 2, the Bitcoin Lightning Network, which also comes with instant and nearly free Bitcoin and even fiat micropayments, and now it delivers built-in data and communication privacy. Here are some use cases. It gives people the ability to interact one-on-one without sharing the private conversation with companies, governments, and the rest of the world. Messaging platforms. Not only you can exchange messages, you can also exchange money, stream data, audio, and video. Decentralized finance, which is actually attack and hack resistant because it comes with the security of the base layer. And maybe even more importantly, private internet. Why is it important? It restores people's right for information. It restores people's right for privacy back to normal. And it restores people's right for their data to remain private.